Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Euroguidance Network webinar. I'm really pleased to announce that this event is part of Global Careers Month, and also it is organized within Euroguidance Network. Your hosts today will be Euroguidance Serbia and Euroguidance Belgium funders. But before we start, we will hear more information about Euroguidance Network. So I'll invite Ilse Jansone, Chair of Euroguidance Network, to tell us more about our main goals and also tasks. So Ilse, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
Thanks for your help. Okay, so I'd like to start by saying many thanks to our esteemed colleagues from CEDEFOP, the Flemish Eurus contact point, and also career practitioners from Serbia for sharing your time, your expertise, and your experience for the benefit of the career guidance community in Europe. Many of you already know that Euroguidance is a network of national resource and information centers for career guidance. We've been around for quite a long time in the context of several European funding programs. Currently, we are co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program, and our network has expanded to 38 countries. Recently, we've also expanded to several partner countries of the European Union. And our main target audience are guidance practitioners within the education and employment sectors. But of course, we are open to cooperate also with trainers of guidance practitioners, policy makers, and other members of the wider guidance community. All of the Euroguidance centers share three common goals, although you can say that the guidance systems in our different countries are very diverse. But what unifies us is the aim to support the development of the European dimension in lifelong guidance. This means an awareness of good practices and policies and approaches, and as well as supporting the concept of learning mobility, both in theory and in practice. We aim to support the competence development of guidance practitioners, and this webinar is part of that strand of our activities. And we also provide information on various aspects of guidance within the European space. The main communication channels we use to do this task are, of course, our website, euroguidance.eu. We have social media presence in both Facebook and LinkedIn. You're very welcome to connect to us there and to learn more about our current activities and upcoming events. Popular resources that we've received good feedback on from our guidance community are the guidance system descriptions. You can learn about the way guidance is organized in all of the different Euroguidance network countries. Another valuable resource is the Good Practice Database, where Euroguidance centers have identified interesting practices, and this database gives you the option to search through various parameters to find the kind of potential tool or approach that you might find inspiring. To support the European dimension in guidance, we have various tools and activities. The Mobility Advice Interview Handbook gives useful information on how to support clients before, during, and after learning mobility. There's the option for guidance practitioners to experience mobility themselves in the format of study visits through the Academia network. And our website also contains information on EU networks in various sectors that can be helpful for solving different guidance questions. We also provide online learning opportunities. As I mentioned, this webinar is one of those. Previous webinars that have been recorded, you can also find on our website. And the Europass network as a whole has provided an e-course to help understand the Europass platform and its uses. And various centers in our network have also provided e-courses for their national guidance communities. The network also produces various publications. We have an annual highlights publication that indeed highlights the most significant activities of the network centers and the working groups throughout the year. Follow our website for latest news and articles on various topics and guidance, and a newsletter is also available to individuals who decide to subscribe. So a subscription to the newsletter is also available on our website. As Milena mentioned, we are in the process of celebrating Global Careers Month. And the Euroguidance Network is offering the European conference on the theme of sustainability of guidance within the Union of Skills. This QR code leads you to the event website. You are welcome to register for attendance on site until November 25th. And there's also a certain section of the conference which will be streamed online. Online registration is also an option, and online registration is available until December 1st. So we really hope to see you there, either in person or online. And with that, I'd like to give you the best greetings of the Euroguidance Network and wish you an enjoyable and fruitful webinar. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ilse. And now we can continue with this official webinar part. Today, you will have opportunity to explore how we can use the labor market information, LMI, and other digital tools for support our clients in their careers. So now I will introduce Ernesto Villalba Garcia and invite him to tell us more about LMI. And in continue, you can also have opportunity to explore examples of good practice in using LMI and other digital tools presented by Jill and her colleague Kira from EURES Flanders, and also Natasha and Svetlana from Knjaževac, our teachers and also career guidance practitioners who will present their examples of good practice in using digital tools. So Ernesto, floor is yours.
Thank you, Milena. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I mean, in the program, you have seen that the name of my colleague, Cynthia Harrison, was there. She unfortunately fell sick today, so she couldn't make it. She is the real expert on career guidance. I work together with her. I also work in the issue of validation of non-formal and informal learning, which my expertise lies most. But we have prepared the presentation together. She, of course, has given me some tips also on what to say, what not to say. But of course, I won't do as good as a job as she would have done. So I'm sorry about that. I think she will be in Latvia with you. So you will be able to hear her there. In any case, I will share now my screen. The idea of the presentation is to wait a second. No, I'm sharing the wrong thing. The idea of the presentation is really to give you an overview in a way and a framework where the discussions that the presentations that are coming after me are placed, So in a way, what we do is to work at the policy level and kind of system level, and is where those practices that you will see and those labor information, market information tools that are presented after me are operating. So the work that you do as practitioners, in a way, is done in the framework that we are trying to promote. So it's always very useful to have these presentations, or to be in these kind of forums where we really are able to kind of get your inputs on how the policies that we are promoting at the European level are working or not. So I'm very glad for being here, and we really appreciate the opportunity. As it has been said, I work at CEDEFOP, the European Center for Vocational Training. I don't know, some of you might not know it. It's a decentralized agency of the European Commission. This means that we are not the Commission, but we work together with the European Commission, the member states, and the stakeholders, so trade unions and employers, in order to develop policies on vocational education and training, on skills, on qualifications. So our governing body is actually tripartite. So it has representatives from government, trade unions, and employers from all the member states. It's located in Thessaloniki, Greece, a beautiful area. So we have been working in the area of guidance for more than 15, 20 years. We produce a lot of information. We have a network of independent voluntary experts that help us to kind of develop some of the policies. They work with us in working on specific publications and projects. And we and some members of Euroguidance are part of our network. And we produce the lifelong guidance inventory, where we kind of try to present information on the guidance systems and practices. So we try to see what is happening in the countries in career guidance. And therefore, I invite you to have a look. We are always very happy to have feedback from the readers and tell us what information they might need, or how the information relates to them, or if there are some extra things, or any feedback is always welcome. But what I want to go so I wanted to give you that kind of idea of where I'm coming from, and a lot of the presentation that we have developed comes from these sources, in a way, the work that we do at CEDEFOP at the European level and for policy purposes mainly. And I want to kind of now go into where labor market information is relevant and how it relates to in the context of career guidance. Nowadays, I think you have probably heard about this many times. It talks about the world. We are living a world in transitions, in a way. Now there's these challenges of demographic, green transitions, the digital transitions. So especially in Europe, there is an aging population, and we are, getting older. The careers are getting longer, and the retirement age is also getting higher, usually in most of the countries. The work tasks in a circular economy, with all or out of sectors affected differently, is affected by the green and digital transitions very much. So the way we work, the tasks that are required are changing quite a bit because of the green and digital transitions. Artificial intelligence is changing also the way we work. There is more possibilities for data analytics, and have that a lot of implication for labor market information. So there is a lot of different changes that I think, or we believe, and we are seeing, that have implications for career guidance and make career guidance even more relevant, because, of course, to navigate all these transitions, to, as they say, ride the wave, you need to really have this development. You need to have guidance in place. The European Union has kind of responded, or one of the main responses to this digital transition, this triple challenge or transitions, is the union of skills. And I don't want to go too deep into it, but I just wanted to mention that there are 4 pillars on this union of skills. Building skills, that is more about how to develop the competencies and the skills, and the fact that we need to constantly be upskilling and reskilling for these digital and green transitions, and in the fact that we need to circulate skills and kind of move people better, or let's say make the movement of skills of people, of labor, easier, so we really take advantage of the freedom of movement that the EU has to kind of gain competitiveness. And the Draghi report was talking about this, and I think career guidance here has a major role to play, of course, and attracting also talent from other countries, from other regions, to kind of work in Europe. So in all these areas, even though explicitly the career guidance is not mentioned very clearly explicitly, but it's implicitly everywhere in a way, and it's relevant everywhere. I think this kind of points out to the fact that we need maybe a renewal on career guidance approach in a way, or a renewal, if you want, to an update of the 2008 recommendation, for example, in terms of we need to revisit what we have been doing a little bit. Because we are seeing from stakeholders that there's a need for an improved update of quality tools and standards. There's an increased interest in the demand for career guidance. So it's really a good moment, we believe, to boost cooperation and to create that structured cooperation. And that's in a way what we are trying to do. And the career month and the career month is, the guidance is an example of this. We work together with several international organizations in developing pamphlets, and we just published an update of the Investing in Career Guidance. And as I say, it's kind of an opportunity for us to kind of advocate for the importance of career guidance. Now, of course, within that pamphlet, this information that we produced, we clearly indicate that career guidance relies heavily on high quality information and labor market information. So that's kind of what I am going to try to focus on today. But what I have tried to give you now is a little bit of the context in which this labor market information is important. But now we will go into career information and labor market information specifically. For this, I want to kind of relate to the Renew framework for lifelong guidance. Many of you might know of the European Lifelong Guidance Network that published the guidelines in 2015, the ELGPN guidelines. So what we have tried to do is to kind of revisit them, renew them. We have been doing this for 3 years. It's a really collaborative effort where we have get information. We have got together with the Finnish Institute of Educational Research, that was the coordinating institution in the ELGPN. We have the support of the European Commission in doing this, and we have worked together with ETF, ILO, and other stakeholders in the development of the framework. It is following the same structure than the previous one. So we have transversal guidelines, we have sectoral guidelines, and we have a dimension of social inclusion dimension that kind of cut across all these other 2 dimensions. So in a way, in a 3-dimensional kind of cube, where each of these represent a dimension. The transversal guidelines cover, or are kind of the 9 guidelines here in yellow, are the common policy fields in each country, in each system, and the 6 guidelines that are here on the right, on my right, are more connected to the provision of services users in education, training, and labor market. So one of the main, or one of the transversal guidelines, is career information in lifelong guidance, and that is where I want to kind of go deeper and kind of try to, again, frame the discussions that you are going to have later on. And in there, we define career information in lifelong guidance as information that is given in any medium, really, to visualize, plan, make meaningful career choices and decisions. And we understand careers in a broader sense of including learning, training, and work opportunities, so not only about work opportunities. And of course, career information is important for many different reasons. And again, you can go deeper in there, but I don't think I have to go into each of these elements. But I want to kind of emphasize here that applying career information is really a skill that needs to be developed by the client as well as for the practitioners. So practitioners need to have an understanding of what is career information and how it works and how to apply it. And they need to kind of transfer this into the clients to some extent. So it really, I believe that labor market information, career information empowers informed decisions, builds career management skills, and because not everybody or everyone can source, interpret, and apply career information in the same way, and without support. So career guidance really helps to bridge those gaps. It of course needs to be objective, impartial, reliable, interconnected. It can be quantitative or qualitative. And again, it is career information. What I'm talking here about is wider than labor market information. And I will go now a little bit into what is labor information. But career information includes labor market information, includes the skills intelligence. So, but is wider because, for example, it can also include experiential information that is important also. So there is skills, equal opportunities, diversity. There are many examples of what this career information can be, including validation of non-formal and informal learning that I am more familiar with, let's say. But there are many different types of information, many different sources of information. So it is really a complex element, let's say, that we need to kind of take into account when you are working with this. And now I would like to go deeper or a bit more specific on what is labor market information specifically. And in here, within this career information, in a way, this is the one that is focusing on the labor market. So it's really quantitative or qualitative information and that gives us or that describes the conditions of labor market, past and present and future projections. It makes clear work opportunities. So if what is the demand, or what occupations are going up or increasing demand, and what are decreasing demand. With the green transition, for example, this is fundamental. You will see in the examples I present from CEDEFOP also that we have information on digitalization, for example, how the digital occupations are increasing. Certain digital occupations are increasing, others seems to be stagnant. So all this information is there. Also information on how to become a professional, what is required to do an occupation, how can jobs find, how do we change jobs, how do we progress in careers. So labor market information is really about the labor market, describing the labor market, what is happening in a broader sense. And it relates and is very much connected to skills intelligence, but we do make a difference. And sometimes it's combined labor market skills intelligence, sometimes it's referred to. But at the end of the day, skills intelligence is kind of the process of identifying, collecting, analyzing, and synthesizing and presenting all these quantitative, qualitative information. I will give at the end of the presentation some of the examples and tools that we are using in skills intelligence. But what I want to highlight here with skills intelligence, skills intelligence uses labor market information to identify key trends and demand in the labor market, to anticipate and forecast skills, to address skill gaps and mismatches, to adapt provision of education and training, so it's done at policy level in a way. And then we hope that it is also relevant for educational and career guidance and counseling, but it is only one element. Let's say skills intelligence kind of uses the labor market information for much more than that. And again, labor market information is broad, is quite substantive, and it can be used, and a lot of the work that I will present later and that CEDEFOP does is about labor market information for policy making and not necessarily for counseling. But we hope that some of the information, of course, can be useful for practitioners and for the information that you provide to the clients. And in that sense, again, what I want to go now into, I still have around 10 minutes, is on the role of the practitioners in career guidance and labor market information, how to use labor market information in a way from a guidance perspective. And of course, as a practitioner, you need to select the labor market information that is appropriate for the specific client or the specific group that you are working with at this particular specific time. So, the role of the practitioner in relation to labor market information is really that of selecting, of mediating effectively with the client in their, their career guidance activities. And you are able to respond to questions by using this information from the labor market. And as I was saying before, at the end of the day, the practitioner also has a role to play in making the client more independent in their use of labor market information. For this, of course, the practitioner needs to understand, comprehend what labor market information is, how it is collected, what are the sources, what are the limitations. And when I present the tools that I will be presenting at the end of the presentation, I will refer to some of those limitations. I also think that practitioners have a very important role to play in outreach strategies and to the promotion of labor market information. So it is an important element, let's say, to make sure that this labor market information is used by the clients, again, in a way that is understood and properly used. And I think, and we were in Sweden in something that Euroguidance organized also on presenting some of our tools on skills intelligence, where it was clear that the practitioners were telling us that, also their role, and I believe this is very important, is to enrich our labor market information and to provide feedback on what this labor market information is or not giving us. And again, what are the goals, what are the problems? So you have a very important role to play with the labor market information, not only as active users of it, but also as producers or, if you want, being able to kind of qualify and improve the labor market information that we have. For this, I think that also your role on ethical considerations, and 2-3 days ago, there was a webinar from the International Associations for Education and Vocational Guidance, where they are presenting their new guidelines. The structure that is here of these 5 points is from the old guidelines, because the new guidelines are not published yet. So I didn't want to put it in the slide. But the text that is there is from the communique that they did after their last conference. And I think that this gains more importance with the use of artificial intelligence, of course, because the way that the artificial intelligence can use all this labor market information is amazing, it's quite impressive. But again, there is an ethical consideration for the practice where we need career practice guidance needs to prioritize really the client rights and autonomy and upholding integrity. So at the end of the day, you need to make sure that the information that you are providing, the labor market information that you are using, and the way that it is analyzed and it is kind of package, it is provided in a way that is ethically responsible. No, and for the guidance practitioners, I think that in all the different activities that you do with the clients, I think labor market information plays a role. It can provide information on external demands and internal reactions. I mean, I don't think I have to go into it because now I think I'm running out of time and I don't want to take the time of the other speakers. But basically, in each of the activities, you have how labor market information contributes, and there is some information on our webpage also about this that you can look at, and I will go back to it in a sec. So to finalize this part where I wanted to bring the framework, I want to kind of highlight a few specific things. There's a lot more to say, and as I say, I will now present some of the tools that we have, and you can visit our resources, and we are always to get feedback. But 3 things that I want to kind of emphasize. One is that, again, labor market information is really something that can empower individuals to make really informed career choices. And as I say, it needs to be, labor market information is, if you want, narrower than career information, but it needs to be used within the career information. The practitioners, you play a key role really in translating this labor market information into actionable guidance. So you really need to have, and as I say, the ethical considerations are fundamental. And you need to use a mix of tools and strategies to really make sure that we are inclusive and effective. So we don't rely on one specific aspect, but many different ones, and I say qualitative and quantitative. So this kind of, to conclude the section, let's say that Cynthia was going to present, as I said, much more to say. You can find information on our webpage. You can always reach us by email and give us feedback. We are always happy to learn from you and how can we, the policies and systems that we are kind of monitoring and checking, and kind of the policies that we are promoting, how they are helping or not in the practice. So with this, I'm going into the second part of the presentation that I was supposed to do, where I want to give you a little bit of a hint of what are the set of resources on labor market information, again, in the context of the work of CEDEFOP. So we have a lot of tools, not only that talk about the labor market, but also that talk about qualifications, skills development, validation of non-formal and informal learning, vet policy. So there's a lot of different tools that are also, I think, relevant for you. But I'm going to focus on the ones that are focusing on skills intelligence and how we use labor market information for that. And in that sense, the CEDEFOP skills intelligence is relying on surveys that we do ourselves, is relying on a skills forecast. So these are projections that we do on how the labor market is going to work, is relying on online job advertisements. So we have now for many years online job advertisements, and we are doing a lot of work in trying to figure out how to analyze them. And we have also a European Skills Index where we try to kind of summarize everything into. So these we do, we produce publications, the online tools that I just presented, and we also produce data that some people have used. We combine these also with information from labor market indicators, Eurostat. So with this kind of create blended skills intelligence that we divide into occupation sectors and countries, and therefore we provide job market trends, how the digital, we try to inform policies on digitalization, on green transitions, societal changes. What I want to emphasize here before I go further is what I was saying at the beginning about CEDEFOP. We work at policy level and we work to support European policies. So a lot of the information that you are going to find here, I think is relevant and useful, but it is not specific applicable, let's say, to your specific context, because we work at the European level and we work for European policies. So I think our tools give you trends, give you indications of how things are happening at the European level in a macro, if you want, bigger stage, in occupational, in sectors, in countries. So there are different tools, and I don't have the time to go into each of them. And now I was trying to see what time it is, because I'm going over my time. So you can go into the tools. Just wanted to say that below what you see on those tools, the visualization, the dashboards, the publications, there is a lot of work that has been done. And I also wanted to emphasize that there is a limitation of skills intelligence, let's say, and that they are focusing on kind of what is happening in the labor market, what is the employers, what is the companies needing, and not so much on the supply side, as we call it, of the labor market, what that is the educational training provision, that is the qualifications that exist. So the skills intelligence that we provide is much more focusing on the demand side. It's mainly quantitative, but as I say, if you think of it, the one that we provide CFO, but if you think in broader terms that I was saying, labor market intelligence also has aspects of qualitative, and career information has even wider perspective. Is usually, as I said from the beginning, misses the context part. So there is really a work to do in contextualizing the kind of these general trends that we are providing, and in a way it's a cold math that we are doing. And we don't predict the future. We are just seeing what is happening again from what has happened in the past mathematically in a way. So there is a lot of publications there, a lot of resources, and I invite you to again look at them. We also have resources for guidance specifically. This is it's a handbook on transferability of ICT and labor market. We have information that is there about labor market information and how to use it in the context of guidance. And a lot of my presentation has been based on this. But it is a little bit dated, and we are planning and seeing how we can update it. But I think some of the information that is there is still relevant. So I invite you to have a look and, of course, give us feedback. And with this, I think I conclude, because I think I might have gone even over my time. I thank you very much for the attention. I hope that I have been clear. As I said, I'm not an expert in career guidance, really, but I hope that I have given you a glimpse or an idea of what we do, giving you a little bit the context of career guidance and labor market information in career guidance. And if there are any questions or something, maybe I can take them now or in a bit. And as I say, any feedback, any comments, any ideas that you have, we are always happy to receive. So thank you very much. And back to you.
Thank you, Ernesto. It was really inspiring to hear all those informations on LMI, but also on CEDEFOP's resources we can use to support our clients and in our practices. And now we can continue with some examples of good practices of Eurest funders. So now I will invite our colleague Jill De Lombarde from Eurest to continue. Also, if you have any questions, comments, etc., we encourage you to write them in a chat. So in the end of the webinar, we will have Q&A part session, and we will answer all your questions.
Okay.
Milena, it will be first my colleague Kira who will start with the presentation. I do the second part.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, welcome everybody. Great to see that there's so many interest for this very important topic. And I have also noticed that there are a few things that we will be taking on board in our presentation that were already covered by Ernesto, because what we want to present today is also related to all these efforts that are created by CEDEFOP and the information that is created on a European level. Anyways, my name is Kira Veldkamp. I am working as a Juris advisor at the Flemish Employment Service. which is at the northern part of Belgium. And together with my colleague Jill, we are the two remaining EURES advisors in Flanders. I'm going to share my presentation with you now. Just give me one moment. Would be a nice time to have some kind of theme tune now. That fast. So here we are. Okay, I hope you can see and follow this very good.
Thank you.
To track of time, so excuse me if I talk too fast, but again, if you have any questions, I'm sure we can answer them at the end of all the presentations. So what I want to dive into is actually our network and how it's related to labor market information. Basically, as I said, we're part of EURES, and EURES is an acronym for European Employment Services, which is actually just a cooperation network for labor mobility across the EEA. It facilitates free movement of workers and is based on a legal basis from the EU. We bring together, of course, the European Commission, the European Labour Authority, the National Public Employment Services, and other partners. But it's our mission to bridge job seekers and employers across the borders and make sure that we can tackle any kind of labour market imbalance that they face. We have two key tools that are mainly interesting for you as a follower of this webinar, which are our human network and our digital platform. Just to keep it short, so the difference is that the human network, of course, consists out of more than 1,000 EURES advisors, all professionals within their organization. That could be the Public Employment Service or a partner connection. They give personal support. Mostly it's tailor-made towards our target groups, which are the job seekers and the employers. It contains information regarding job search, recruitment, and living and working conditions abroad. We also support events and projects, like, for example, we support the European Online Job Days. I'm not going to dive into that, but it is interesting if you would ever visit our digital basic to also see what we have to offer there, because it also provides a lot of interesting information and data. And of course, we are, because we are a humane network and we are basically a goodwill network, we really rely on our exchange of good practices and the labor market information that we hold as an individual regarding our expertise. And then if you see on the other side of the presentation slide, I also give you an overview on how our digital platform, the EURES portal, supports us. Actually, I've been in the network for 24 years, so I've been there from just handing out information to everything you can gather to a full operational, very accessible digital platform. It facilitates us with job and CV matching. There's a lot of built-in processes behind this to help us facilitate these matching processes. It's, of course, an information hub. It's very comprehensive, and it gives you up-to-date information on living and working conditions in EEA countries. Also, and this is really important, it is easy accessible. Let's say for 80% of the information that is on this digital platform, it's easy accessible and there's no need for you to subscribe. So it's very user-friendly, and the resources are, of course, available 24/7. The EURES portal is a vital source for LMI exchange, of course, because it hands us labor markets, shortages and surpluses information. It helps us to have an overview on in-demand occupations, because there's about 3,300,000 opening positions at the portal as we speak. It holds essential data for education, which is not frequently used to me as a Euros advisor in my region, but it might be a part of a project or anything that we are occupied with. And then it's really interesting to hold this also. And it also informs you, for example, about curricula, like aligning education and training programs to see what is necessary to tackle the future labor market needs. And very important, a really big part of our target group in job seekers is students and graduates, of course. And here especially, there's a lot of support available for guidance and counseling concerning future European mobility. This is what the website would look like if you start looking at the Euros portal. This is our starting page, but of course, we don't have the time, alas, to cover all of the sections that are available. I do insist that you would have to take the time in the future to look into these details, but we're gonna just focus down on what's relevant for today, which is actually the area of living and working, where there are two main parts that give you a lot of information concerning labor market information. And these parts are living and working conditions in Europe on one hand, and the other one is the labor market information in Europe. Basically, if you go to one of these, you can choose any of the 31 countries. And for example, if we take Belgium, and we can see in the overview that there's, of course, more information on finding a job within the area of living and working conditions, but it also gives you an overview on traineeships and apprenticeships, especially in how it's defined, what the eligibility is, and where you can find more contacts and other resources. If you would go to the labor market information specifically on Belgium, obviously, you can go to national level and then find out about unemployment data or national, and you can find this on national and regional level, but you can also find other sources and general information on bottlenecks and surpluses. And this is one where, for example, all the efforts from CEDEFOP comes into, because we have an integrated dashboard. It's actually an interactive dashboard, which you can really easily scroll over to, and it lights up when you go ahead. And then, for example, you could dive into what you need to know about certain shortages and surpluses. For example, if you use Belgium as a country, and then you would say as an individual occupation, software and applications for the year 2024, which in fact is the time gap is getting smaller and smaller. So this is actually very recent data. Well, if you would access this, then you would see that the result for Belgium in the shortage comes out, but also, and this is really, really, really something that's helpful in our daily work, we can immediately see where the surpluses are in other countries. So I'm not going to go into that, but that's also something to dive into deeper too. There's also a lot of information on job vacancies insights, which you could look at. And again, you can see CEDEFOP is also involved here. Another important integrated service within the portal, for example, if we look at the CV information or the CV matching, then, for example, you might know Europass is also an important partner in this information on data. And then if you also go to the section Euro services, so again, at the starting portal, you can choose the selection Euro services. I wanted to focus on that one as well, because it gives you an overview on other interesting portal statistics, like who are the visitors concerning job seekers profiles and the employer statistics, but also more about the vacancy statistics. And then before I finish my part, just to make sure that you know where we come from, as I said in the beginning, we are basically covering the European mandate, the regulation that covers the legal foundation for our services. And there are three very important mission goals, say it that way. It's facilitating mobility, obviously, but also make sure that there's transparency on the labor market and provide labor market information. We consider ourselves to be the European data hub if it goes down to labor market information. And this covers, like I said before, two sections and areas, mostly living and working condition and labor market intelligence on the website of EURES. The flow to have all the information comes mainly from all the partners and the public employment services. They put in their data because we consider ourselves as a public employment service also a data director of the labor market, and we hand over this data to our central European Labour Authority services that cover the updates on the website. Just before I close my argument here, I just wanted to say that if you want to dive deeper into information, for example, on Belgium, then you also have to take into account, and this is something predecessor said also, of course, there are regional differences, and you might have to dive deeper into the various regions. So if you do go into Belgium, and you will find also a little bit of an interview on overview on the regions, but it's really important that you know there's even more to find within, for example, the various public employment services, because they have various data on their own or their general labor market. Voila, for me, EURES goes beyond jobs. It's your verified gateway to labor market intelligence in Europe, and we're always happy to provide you with more information. I hope I didn't go too fast. For the other part, the more practical part, I would like to leave the floor to my colleague, Jill. So I will close my presentation.
Thank you, Kira. And now let's hear available resources and examples of good practices.
Okay, you can see my screen. So good afternoon. I'm Gilles de Lambarde. As Kira said, we are the two remaining EURES advisors in Flanders, Belgium. And I'm going to give you some more details or information on the practical side of using the labor market information within our contacts, within the questions we get. So first, to explain a little bit how you can use EURES and how you can use the data we have, I have two practical cases written out. And these are cases that we see often, or we have a lot of questions in that area. So, and as Kira also explained, we're a digital platform, but also a human platform or a human network. So I'm going to give you two examples on how we use both the systems on helping job seekers finding the right steps in their career path. The first one is if you use the digital EURES. We have an example of Rio, who's a student in Barcelona, and he wants to know what his perspectives are on the labor market, preferably abroad. He has a strong interest for Flanders because he did the Erasmus in Belgium or in Flanders, and he's really keen on moving to Belgium. And he did a job in IT. He finished his software development degree. So he comes to us, to EURES Flanders, and says, what are my opportunities? What can I do? So first of all, we refer them to EURES Spain, of course, but you can already find a lot of information on finding opportunities in Flanders, in Belgium, by the EURES portal. Because if he goes to the job seekers part, he finds hints and tips on what to do if you would move abroad, who to contact, what are useful links. But he also can find jobs over there. So all the European job offers are on that platform. and he can make a selection himself by searching on keywords, on company, job title, and then see how much job offers are left in European countries. Like if you would be selecting in Belgium, then you would see there's a lot of job offers to make a connection with the keyword that he has put in there. An interesting way of finding out if our employers are really open to that job seeker, to Rio as a non-Dutch speaking person, to Rio as a European candidate. You have also an extra filter that job seekers can use, and that's the EURES flag. That means that we have had contact with the employer and that he's open to European job seekers, because EURES flag is only something EURES advisors can put on the job offers as a signal for future job seekers. So that's an extra tip for the candidate if he wants to be sure that the candidate, that he has a chance of applying there. Of course, he can apply for all the job offers that are online. These are European job offers, but for these job offers, he's 100% sure the recruitment is willing to recruit outside of the Flemish borders. On the platform as well, there's an event page. On the event page, we always guide them through there as well, because there are a lot of interesting recruitment events, job events, and other interesting information, workshops that job seekers can follow. So if a candidate wants to work in a certain country, or if it's possible, there would be an event in the future about his plans. So that's how to use the digital platform. He can also go to the living and working page, see on what it is to work in Belgium. He can also find information on the regional differences, like my colleague explained. How is it in Flanders? What are the shortages? What are the surpluses? But also how is it in Brussels, in Wallonia? So he can find all the information on the platform. And we try to help them guide through the platform and how to use it. In this, our digital platform we have, but we also have, of course, our human network. And I want to give you an example of a case that that we have dealt with about a person. She was, her name was Hannah, and she lives and works in Belgium. But she started supplementary self-employment activity as a handbag designer. So she worked with leather. And she, through her personal connections, network, she came across a shoemaking workshop in France who had special techniques on how to improve her skills on working with leather. So she was really interested in working for that company. And that company was really open to her, but they said, look, you can start in our company, but we would like to offer you an internship, more of a stage contract, not really an employment contract. But she didn't know, Hannah didn't know, what does that mean for me? How does it look like? There was like a cooperation with France Travail, with the French Public Employment Service, because she found a company, of course, not in Belgium, but in France. So I got in, she came back to me and said, do you know what they mean by that kind of internship, or what are the consequences for me? So I got in touch with our EURES employment, or with the EURES advisors of France Travail, the public employment service over there, to ask if they could explain to me and to her what the conditions of the internship were, what does it mean for the person, for Hannah, to do the internship, so she could decide if she was willing to step into the proposition of the company. Of course, at the end, she did. She got all the support also from EURES France to deal with administration in France. So at the end, when she finished her internship, she had built up her competences. She had more knowledge on how to work with a specific kind of leather. And in this moment, she's not supplementary self-employment anymore. She's really working as an independent in Belgium. and now has plans to move to France and not returning back to Belgium anymore because she really loved it over there. So that's how the human network could play a role in people their goals, their dreams. So it's not only about the digital part, it's also about the human part. How can people find, of course, the right person to contact in other European country? We have the Euro services on the platform. I'm sorry, it's a print screen in Dutch because you can see the Euro's website in all the native languages of Europe. Then they go to search for a Euro's advisor, and then they can find and contact the right person. So as explained, we connect people, we connect information, we facilitate. We look at cross-border mobility, we look at European mobility, we look at international mobility, what are the rules, what are the obligations, how do we work around cultural integration, and so on. And of course, the result is fitting the labor mobility puzzle together so that we can ensure our clients, our job seekers, and our employers to navigate through the European labor markets. So it's really a synergy between the human and the digital platform. That's our strength as a US advisor. This was my part of the practical cases. So if you have any questions, I think after all the presentations, you can ask them in the chat.
Yeah, thank you a lot. And now we will continue with some practical examples. Thank you.
Hi, hello. Hi from Knjaževac, this cute little city in the southeast of Serbia. Me and my colleague, we will share today our example of good practice. At the first, we would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Svetlana. I'm the pedagogist and also specialist for mediation. I work at school for almost 20 years, and with my colleague Natasha, we are doing some activities about career guidance and counseling for many years. So I will call Natasha to introduce herself now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natasha Jankulowski. I'm economist by profession. I'm teacher in secondary school, career practitioner, and coordinator of career guidance and project team in my school. Can you see our presentation or no?
Not yet.
Okay. I can see. I can try.
When Natasha is about to share the presentation, I will tell you a couple of things about these activities and idea for the activity. First of all, we are...
No, not yet. Do you maybe want us to share the presentation?
Can you see now?
Yes.
Yeah. Now it's
okay.
great. Just to put it on the slideshow.
Okay.
It's our Serbian You're familiar with that. You can continue. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We are glad to have the opportunity to participate in this event and to share our example of good practice that is recognized by national agency in Serbia. And when we were thinking about creating this activity, we were guided by this motivational element for students. And I just have to emphasize that we are working with the students in a secondary education level. It's from 15 to 19 years old. And we were thinking about creating some activity for the workshop that started from the need to engage more students in their or career guidance and exploring. And we would like to create something that can give them the best approach to the information by using digital tools. And we would like something that can catch their attention, because today it's very difficult to catch the attention of the student. So also when we created the QR code, we were thinking about creating something that is familiar with them, something that they can use on everyday basis, like exploring the menus in the cafes or ordering food or drinks by using QR code. And this tool we created as a kind of you will see a later structural guide for students, but also there is that self-approach, personal approach to research some information about labor markets or the careers only. This activity was mostly about informing, but you will see later in the steps there is some other things that include. I just want to say that this is some activity that include national portals and local-based informations about connections with the employees, or about the possibilities and opportunities for the career. Also, this activity is mostly about getting the information, and it's not the end of all the activities. There is also a continuing in this, I could say, a career path, or the way for research the career. I will take the floor to Natasha to guide you through the presentation and through the steps. And also we will be very happy if you have some comments or questions, so you can write on the chat box and we will later come back for that. Thank you.
Okay, I will say about our example of good practice. Students were divided into two teams. A representative for the first team show an occupation based on the car drawing, and the other tried to give an answer. The time was limited to 30 seconds. If the first team didn't know the answer, the second team got a chance. The team with the high score points won. The QR code was shared with students by Viber group. By loading the code, the text with detailed explanation of the activities and the listed links was displayed. The first step was to get introduced with the job through the portal Bosch Carriera. This is Serbian portal. This was followed by researching educational opportunities through the website www.obrazovanje.rs, also Serbian portal. The next step was registration and taking tests on the portal Bosch Carriera. Opening the QR code displays these documents. Documents explain introduction for students. You can see connect of the documents on this slide. Can you see steps for the students? Students follow these steps to find their career code. Based on the test results and identified areas, the students found an organization in the area and contacted. A list of organization to contact and question to guide the conversation was formed. real meeting with companies were held and the photo was taken as a proof of the visit. This is possible question for organization. What activity do you do at work? Is there a possibility of promotion at your workplace? How do you feel doing your job? What kind of communication do you have with your boss? Are all responsibilities clear to you at the beginning of the working day? What are the great advantages of your job? What are the biggest challenge in your job? And finally, what is the advice for the successful career? And our conclusion, Svetlana.
Yes. So you can see that we mentioned to take the floor to the students to explore the careers that are available on our local level, and they have the opportunity to connect with the employees and to speak with them. So this was very interesting activity for our students, and we just wanted to wake up the curiosity of the students for the future job, future careers, and the labor markets. And as I said, this is not the end. This is something that requires a little bit more time for exploring, but we think that is very useful for the students. And we were very glad to lead some kind of activity. And for the end, this is our contacts. We would like to invite you to write to us if you want to make some kind of collaboration. We would be very happy to collaborate with our colleagues from the other countries. And also, we would like to thank to our national agency, Euroguidance Center Serbia, Milena and Ramona, for the opportunity, for all the support, and for the recognition of our work. Thank you.